Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome to another RPG News Roundup, this time for September 21st, 2024, where each week I take a look back at the week in tabletop, computer, and console role-playing game news and bring you the highlights. And I already know that I'm once again going to be missing graphics for this week. In fact, you may be seeing this in a lower resolution. My internet was out for the entire day yesterday, and in fact, it is still out now. So rather than spending Friday grabbing the Friday releases, researching the links, updating anything that changed for the rest of the stuff that released prior, I simply had to script this according to my notes that I set up on Thursday night. Saturday, this morning, I went out and managed to tether myself somewhere and finish the rest of the notes for what released on Friday. Forgive me if I missed everything in the result. Forgive me if I made any mistakes. At any rate, let's go ahead and start with computer and console role-playing game news. It looks like Far Horizon is set to release on September 23rd. It looks like it'll be an action-adventure RPG set in the far reaches of space with a combination of looting, shooting, and crafting. Then Monomyth is set to hit on early access on October 3rd. It has been in development for a while now and looks to be inspired by those first-person dungeon-crawling sims such as Arx Fatalis and Ultima Underworld and so forth. Harvest Moon, The Winds of Anthos, will be getting a DLC to be released on October 3rd as well, called The Great Outdoors Pack. It'll add camping trip functionality as well as treasure hunting. Necro's Story is set to release on October 7th. It'll target the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X/S, as well as the Switch, and will be a creature collection RPG where you play a necromancer joined by the ghost of a white mage who ventures into the underworld. Darksiders 2 will be getting a release on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X/S. It has been an enhanced version of the definitive edition of a game that has been available on other platforms for a while now. In fact, the initial game, not the enhanced edition, but the initial game was released way back in 2012. Orange Season is set to release on October 24th. It'll target the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X/S, as well as the Switch, and has been in early access for a number of years now. It has you building up a farm in a village where you grow crops, raise animals, fish, mine, and so forth. Freedom Wars Remastered looks like it's getting a release on January 10th. It is a remaster of a 2014 PlayStation Vita title. It'll target the PC, PS4, PS5, and the Switch. The Like a Dragon / Yakuza series is getting a new entry. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza is set to hit on February 28th of 2025. It'll target the PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, and will resolve around Goro Majima out in the ocean around Hawaii. It looks to be a combination of a number of things. Anyway, Starlight Revolver is set to release to early access on PC on next year. It'll be an action RPG inspired by anime of the 1990s and the 2000s. Honkai Star Rail will be getting a physical edition for the PlayStation 5. No release date has been set yet, but it will come with a physical copy of the game as well as various goodies. My Time at Evershine will be the latest in the My Time Life Sim series. It looks like they will be changing the art direction as well as gameplay mechanics and add town management elements. It will target the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X/S, and whatever the next generation, the Nintendo platform will be. There will be crowdfunding campaign set to start sometime actually this coming week, and I'll cover it next time. As far as actual releases go, Final Fantasy XVI saw its release on Steam, the latest in the Final Fantasy series. It does have a demo available. And speaking of things being released on the PC after initial release on the PS5, God of War Ragnarok saw its release as well. It has been available on the PS5 for quite some time now. Touhou Fantasy is a sort of a survivor-style barrage shooter game based on the Touhou Project series. Keylocker, a turn-based cyberpunk RPG, saw its release on Steam. As did Inotria, The Last Song. It's a Souls-like set in a world inspired by Italian folklore. These are things I've been covering over and over again, so yeah. Project Ano's Ark is a mix of tactical RPG with roguelike elements, where you try to survive in an apocalyptic game of mutual destruction. Fira, The Sundered Tribes, entered early access and is a mix of monster hunting and survival action RPG with village building and tribe management. Cricket, Jay's Really Peculiar Game, was released. It looks like one of those indie kind of sort of JRPGs, sort of not really, kind of cozy games. Card Rogue is a rogue-like RPG meant to be played in short sessions where you get to pick between randomly dealt cards. Shine Hill is an early access where you're sent to a place to replace a resident on Shine Hill Island where you must explore, farm, fish, cook, and then try not to be found out because you have replaced somebody. Trail of Ayasha is an open-world game where various tribes interact with one another, engaging in diplomacy, war, and expansion. Finally, there is At Daggers Drawn, an open-world adventure RPG where the creator of the world has fallen, and the survivors are now at odds with one another. And now on to tabletop role-playing game news. The Player's Handbook for D&D 2024 has officially gone on sale. It has been filtering into various online tabletop offerings, but is now available through large retailers as well. Chaosium will be looking to reprint the classic ElfQuest RPG. There will be a Kickstarter for it in October, which I will cover then. This was originally released back in 1984. Critical Role's Daggerheart is going to launch in spring of next year, and there are now pre-order options available. Daggerheart will be a new high fantasy game using a 2d12 based system. With that, we'll move on to indie and PDF releases, starting with Masterclass Eldmage from Rogue Genius Games. It has a full class with focus on a few powerful magics that can be combined with others. It comes in Starfinder, Pathfinder, Pathfinder 2nd Edition, as well as 5th Edition versions. Galactic classes. The Mystic is a class for Pathfinder 1st Edition. It's a psychic spellcaster that draws power from a connection with some underlying force, and is inspired by a Starfinder class. Redoubts of the Apocalypse, Lords of the Dead, is an expansion of the system that allows post-apocalyptic play in a fantasy system. This one offers a zombified campaign setting and is available for Pathfinder 1st Edition. Kelphicil's Tales is a number of 5th Edition adventures out once again. There is Of Thieves and Liars, Oozed Blues, Pumpkin Cursed, Revenge of the Giants, Reliquary of Souls, Queen's Gambit, and Queen's Fall. Adventures Await Studios has a few adventure packs, each an adventure for 5th Edition. There is The Fiendish Flagship and Perils of the Savage Seas. Year of Adventure is a 5th Edition collection of 13 adventures. It has 12 one-shots as well as a longer adventure, each one with unique monsters, items, maps, and so forth. The Mind Oracle Scheme is a 5th Edition campaign designed to take characters from levels 1 to level 4, split into 4 acts of around 4 to 5 hours each. Dungeons Deep and Caverns Old is available in a 5th Edition version. It is a setting set in the depths of an ancient dwarven kingdom. Ars Mechanica has a number of offerings out. There is The Secret of the End of the World Tavern, an investigation-based side quest suited for level 18 characters. The Tavern module includes what you need to run your own tavern in 5th Edition. Then there's the Steam Gunner, a new steampunk-style class. Steam Golem Creation module gives rules for creating your own Steam Golem. Finally, there are 3 NPCs and companions, Debelle the Waitress, Maribel the Tavern Keeper, and a Squeak the Mecha Mouse. Goblins, Goblins, and More Goblins is a collection of 25 creatures with goblin themes or goblin subtypes for 5th Edition. Children of the Outer Darkness collects 6 new character races for 5th Edition and is meant to be used with Rack's Compendium of Troubling Magics, which is also now available and compiles 60 dark and alarming spells for 5th Edition. Terra RPG has a number of class-based compendiums for 5th Edition, with each one offering various subclasses and other options. There is Barbarian, Cleric, Bard, and Druid so far. Gaming Brew has the Phantom Sorcerer subclass for 5th Edition, which revolves around a sorcerer who has died and then come back to life. Epic Heroes Encyclopedia Volume 5 is available in print-on-demand format and expands the fighter class from 5th Edition to account for levels 20 to 30. Then Media Stream Press has another couple compendiums of species-based spells. There is Compendium of Halfling Spells, which offers over 50 thematic spells for halflings for 5th Edition. They also have Compendium of Gnomish Spells, which does the same, but for gnomes. Arcane Engineering is a 5th Edition compatible supplement that details a system for creating and using arcane circuitry for wizards who are tired of scrolls, tomes, and so forth. Basically, wizard science. Pocketbook Crack the Code challenges for 5th Edition offers a number of encryption-based challenges. Theoretically system agnostic, it does have guidelines on how to solve them using 5th Edition checks if you don't want to have your players sit there and puzzle them out. RPG Gamer has a set of new sci-fi races for 5th Edition. There's the Luminids and the Volorans. Kobold Press is another entry into the Book of Hexcrawl series, this time Part 6, Time. It has tricks for keeping time, working seasons and weather into the campaign, building calendars, and so forth. The Cult of Jay Croda is a advanced 5th Edition adventure inspired by things like Caves of Chaos and includes fresh variants of classic monsters. Mythmere has the Big Book of NPCs, a collection of swords and wizardry stat blocks for all the character classes in the expanded version of the game up to at least 9th level. Cinders of the Dragonlord is an OSR-style adventure with stats designed in a basic style for broad compatibility, as well as 4-hex region and a Dragonlord's dungeon. Baron Games Adventures Issue 2, The Crypt, is another OSR adventure that can be played either solo or with a group and is broadly compatible with a number of systems. The Rending of the Sun is an adventure for both Knave 2nd Edition as well as Moss Ritter, where the sun's path has been changed. Knights of the Realm is a D100-based roll-under system designed to be played either solo or with a friend, where the Magi's and the sorcerers of the realm have determined that you are destined to be the monarch of destiny. Eventful Oddballs It is a fantasy tabletop RPG set in a world of imagination, which looks to be a bit on the ridiculous side. Tailweaver Player's Guide version 2 is a revised version of the classless levelless RPG system with social interaction systems, crafting options, and more. Fairy Folk is a lo-fi RPG based on the 24XX rules where you play a psychopomp guiding lost souls down the river Styx. Versus a Basic Heroes Basic Heroes is a simple RPG focusing on action and drama over resource management meant for fast play. Stake Book 6 is set in a forlorn mansion where you play a special division of Scotland Yard assigned to deal with supernatural elements. Mysteries of Rose Island, Volume 1, is a collection of mysteries for Moonlight on Roseville Beach, with 5 mysteries that can be added to the ones in the core book. The Last Hope is a Call of Cthulhu adventure where something is beginning to devour the United States. Then there is Operation Oberon, an adventure for Cthulhu 2D20 set in Shanghai, China, where agents learn that the Axis is smuggling occult treasures out during the Japanese occupation. Scion 2nd Edition, Scion 2nd Edition, Book 4, God, covers the final stage of the journey to godhood and offers new rules for players, guidance for story guides, and include new pantheons, rules, antagonists, etc. Shadowrun Smooth Operations is a core face rulebook offering various options for face characters. Timeforge Adventures Through the Vortex is a RPG with a sci-fi theme where you play operatives in a temporal investigation agency in a war across time. Kill Him Faster is a tabletop RPG about time-traveling athletes who attempt to kill Hitler in the fastest way possible. RGB is a collection of 3 adventures for the Cypher system role-playing game that can be played as either one-shot or as a sequence for a longer story. Each one takes place in a completely different world and genre. Subsurface is an action horror RPG inspired by Half-Life, Dusk, Doom, the SCP Foundation, etc., where you play operatives trapped in the lower levels of the pit trying to fight their way up to the surface. Cepheus Universal SRD is an SRD for all the rules in the Cepheus Universal engine from Zoser Games, stripped of illustrations and decorations along with a compatibility license. There is a version more suited for actually running games available separately. Rust and Resolve is a solo RPG where you play a malfunctioning robot in a wasteland. Pip System Primer number 15 Robots is a guide to playing robots using the Pip system. Finally, there is Starfighter's Weapons Locker, a guide to equipment and economics for Starfighter's Trooper X. And with that, let's take a look at crowdfunding campaigns. Remember that contributing to a crowdfunding campaign should be done only at your own risk. Doing so, no guarantee of receiving a product. Mentioned here is not an endorsement. It is for informational purposes only. And a few computer and console crowdfunding campaigns caught my eye this week. We'll start with Avernum 4, Greed and Glory, which looks to be yet another remake and update of an entry into the Spiderweb Software's classic Avernum series. It's interesting to see how they roll these out every couple of years. The Curse of Mount Madre will be a turn-based JRPG with a Wild West twist featuring 2 orphan boys who team up with a veteran treasure hunter. Artisan Story will be a fantasy monster ranching sim with elements of monster taming, farming, alchemy, kind of a mix of Rune Factory, Pokemon, and the Atelier series. That actually sounds better than it looks. I need to look into some of these. Seed of God RPG looks to be a JRPG-style saga aimed at mature audiences with a mix of pixel and 3D aesthetic. Then To Kill a God will be an immersive action roguelite focusing around a skill system that lets you build your own skill trees. Debt City will be a retro open world style life sim RPG where you explore an open world city and try to pay off a debt to a mob boss. Onwards towards tabletop campaigns, Classic Beginnings will be a collection of 3 one-shots for new players for 5th edition from Elven Foundry. The Administration, Book 1, London by Night, looks to be a mini-campaign for 5th edition, as well as the new 5th edition 5.5 or whatever. Maybe call it New D&D or something? I don't know. It will be a multi-book series featuring Victorian-era England with a touch of Lovecraft. The Derelict House of Abaddon will be a 5th edition and 2nd edition compatible Halloween one-shot quest. I don't know if they mean Pathfinder 2nd edition or like 2nd edition OSR style. Who knows? Or maybe they mean 5th edition 2nd edition. I don't know. We got to standardize this terminology really quick. Tremors Beneath looks like it will be largely set for a group of 3D printable monsters, but it will include a 5th edition campaign PDF dealing with various encounters against cultists, zombies, underworld monsters, etc. Phantoms of the Opera will be a 5th edition haunting adventure set in 1880s Paris where the dead has begun to rise. Drop-in Dungeons and Encounters will be a 5th edition supplement featuring 7 dungeons with boss fights and special mechanics set for levels 3 to 11. Murder at the Old Wolf Inn looks to be a 5th edition mystery adventure inspired by Agatha Christie. Necromancer Games is looking to fund a double holiday feature, a pair of holiday-themed adventures, The Feast of the Fork and 12 Days of Orcus. They will be available in the 5th edition OSR and Castles and Crusades versions. Osmoria will be a set of 3 5th edition one-shot adventures set in the world of Osmoria, each meant to provide a unique experience. Weapons of Legend for 5th edition looks to collect 80 wondrous magical weapons for 5th edition and looks to feature some that increase in power. It is already available in the PDF. This crowdfunding will be looking to fund a Foundry virtual tabletop version. Folio of Fearsome Foes will be a collection of 100 plus monsters for 5th edition, a mix of new monsters as well as revitalized favorites designed to be collected into a pocket-sized book. Apocalypse of the Risen Survivor Starter will be a expansion for the Apocalypse of the Risen campaign setting for 5th edition and will include new rules that don't require the core 5th edition books, various new conditions and damage types, new original classes, new accessories, and new creatures in a Session 0. Sync looks to be a 5th edition compatible supplement for pirates and tattoos, featuring various nautical subclasses, magic items, traditional tattoos, as well as modular dungeons with the appropriate theme. Epic Heroes and Encyclopedia Volume 7, Paladin, will be yet another entry into that series of books. It looks to expand the classic 5th edition classes from levels 20 to level 30. Mists of Akuma will be a retuned version of the campaign setting of Eastern Fantasy Noir Steampunk and looks to also fund various encounter books for levels 1 to 20 and a full adventure path. Jacob's Folly will be a 5th edition Western horror one-shot set in a fantasy world where the characters transform into Old West gunslingers. It actually says where the players transform into Old West gunslingers. A lot of people, for some reason, are having this trouble distinguishing between players and characters. I don't know whether to blame that on looseness in terminology or just a general increase in mental issues. Anyway, Tales from the Smoking Worm, issue number 10, will be yet another collection of Dungeon Crawl Classics material based. It'll actually have 2 items, Tales from the Smoking Worm issue 10, which is a zine for DCC RPG, as well as a 0-level Dungeon Crawl Classic set of character sheets. Against the Cult of the Hippie Commune will be a DCC RPG compatible 0-level funnel, as well as associated zine dealing with townsfolk in 1960s rural America, whose innocent teenagers have been taken in by a sinister hippie cult. Damn hippies. Gold Teeth looks to be a tabletop RPG of piracy and occult horror. Set in 1781, it's meant to be grotesquely comic. The Expanse RPG Transport Union Edition will be an expanded version of the Expanse RPG, focusing on the 30-year span between the novels Babylon's Ashes and Persepolis Rising. Finally, there is Re-Emergence, a sci-fi action tabletop RPG with a broad array of character creation options designed for uniqueness, a timer system to give a sort of real-time feel to every encounter, and so forth. With that, I will wrap things up here. This has been the RPG Crawler, my RPG News Roundup for September 21st, 2024. Once again, I apologize for the shortcuts I had to take this week. Just a note on my script from last night where I wrote, it's like 10 p.m. here and my internet's been out since 8 in the morning. It is now 1 p.m. on Saturday and my main internet is still up. I'm going to have to upload this through my phone internet, which is pretty janky, so I may have to downsize this just to get it up. Anyway, I'll find some way to post it. Until next time, take care and goodbye.
And if you are still watching, I would like to take the opportunity to thank my supporters, the top tiers of which are listed on the screen, without whose support I would not have been able to offer the variety of content that I have on this channel throughout the years. If you're feeling particularly generous and would like to join them, you can support the channel. There are a variety of options to do so. I have a Patreon, a Subscribestar, as well as channel memberships enabled. If you are not in a position to contribute, simply leaving a like, a comment, or sharing my videos are all wonderful ways to help the channel grow without spending a dime, and are all greatly appreciated.